Please welcome to the stage an awesome, awesome company. Some people are calling it the Hipmunk of hotel rooms, Room 77.
Good morning. Well, I can't tell you how excited I am to be here to finally be announcing the launch of Room 77's public beta. This is an idea that I've been thinking about and working on in one fashion or another for about 8 years. Has anybody here ever gotten a really crappy hotel room? Isn't it crazy the amount of time and energy and places we can go to research and book a hotel room, but you don't know whether or not you got a good or a bad room until you open the door? At Room 77, we think it shouldn't be a crapshoot. We're building the first database of all hotel rooms and a platform around it so that you know before you go what rooms to request and which rooms to avoid. Let's check it out. Let's say we want to go to Hawaii this morning. Specifically, we'll go to the Hyatt in Waikiki. You're going to see a search results page here that's unlike anything you've seen in the travel space. On the left-hand side, we've literally stack ranked all 1,230 rooms in this hotel according to a set of preferences. In this case, we've set a default set of preferences, a high floor, view is really important to me, put me a long way away from the elevator, and I don't want a connecting room. But obviously, you can go in and change your preferences, and we'll reorder the rooms according to those different sets of preferences. On the top right is actually the view that we've created from room 3907. So click around on the different rooms, either on the left or on the map below, and the room view changes. We've literally plotted the longitude, latitude, and altitude of every room in our database, over 425,000 rooms and growing every day, and created a synthetic view that, as this slide will suggest, one of our alpha users last week who was staying in room 704 at the Hyatt in Cambridge sent us this. This was the view that we created. Below is the view that he took with his actual phone. So at scale, we've produced views from every room in all the hotels we've covered, which is over 2,500 hotels and over 425,000 rooms. On the bottom right, you'll see the actual room map that you can zoom in and out of. And at the bottom of the page, we've literally talked to the bellman and the concierge in all these hotels and given you the tips in case you don't have a default set of preferences about which rooms to request. But some might say, well, why does any of this matter? Aren't all hotel rooms created equal? Let's say in this hotel we wanted to stay in a deluxe ocean view double. My wife and I, we fly across country, 10 hours, we show up. If we show up in this room, my wife's going to be pretty happy. But oftentimes you show up at the hotel, deluxe ocean view double, and this is the view from the room. You can get a little bit of the ocean over here, but then this is one of those classic moments. You went to the front desk, they said, yeah, it's a great view. You get to the room, and it's a lousy view. You may have checked in a little late, and now there's no chance to change that room. 2 minutes. The reality is, all rooms are not created equal. So why don't we get behind the scenes a little bit and check out how the foo is made. So this is our content management system. You can see we have over 428,000 hotels. So I'm going to pick one, the Mandarin in Miami. Oh, here we go. Just get kicked off. So the artifacts that we're sourcing for these hotels can literally range from something the hotel is providing to us, like a schematic, or a picture of an exit room map, or literally a map that you're tracing at the hotel. So a lot of people asked early on, how can you get the hotels to participate in this? The reality is many of the hotels are now claiming their content because they see the power of this as a merchandising platform. But even if they're not, we can literally create the same experience on the front end with simply a picture of an exit room map or somebody going into the hotel and drawing the map. Once you have the information, you can go back to the page and request, click on request a room. We walk you through, coach you tip by tip how to get that room. For example, don't call the reservation center because they have no ability to allocate a room. You have to call the front desk. Don't call 3 weeks ahead of time because they haven't started releasing rooms. Call 2 to 3 days ahead of time. Don't ask for a single room. We've given you 4 or 5 rooms that you ought to choose from. So it's empowering you with the information you need to get the room that you want. Exciting to us is we're now talking with hotel companies, and within the next few weeks, we'll pilot test something where you can actually pick the room and guarantee it. So think of pick a seat on an airline. The aisle seat, the window seat. People are willing to pay $10 extra to get the aisle seat or get the window seat. So who wouldn't be willing to pay $10 extra to get the actual room with the view, $39.12, as opposed to looking at a window after flying cross country? And while we're excited about the basic platform here and its ability to change the way we interact and request rooms, one of the use cases we think is even more powerful is the ability to engage people in an activity they're already doing. People are walking into their rooms today, they're taking photos, they're uploading them to Flickr, but they're not actionable. So how do we engage that audience and allow them to build on top of this base platform? So we're also pleased to announce today that as of midnight last night, our iPhone app has been added to the Apple Store and approved. And Kevin, who runs the business day to day, is going to take you through the use case on the mobile device and how we think that will also change the game.
And I'm going to do this in 1 minute. So if we could go to the Elmo real quick, that'd be great. There we go. So let's say I'm staying at the Larkspur Hotel Union Square. So now you're in the moment. You're standing in line at check-in. And we think the element of surprise is completely overrated when you're being assigned a room. So I just type in my room number, room 204. And it tells me instantaneously whether I should take it or leave it. If it's a red match based on my preferences, I just want to see alternatives. So I click on the category. I'm going to see some better choices. And now I can have that negotiation with the front desk and have a better stay. When I get up to my room, I'm going to want to rate it. So I encourage you all to download the app today. Check out your hotel in San Francisco. Write a review, take a photo. If you find a hotel that's not in our database, you can help us by sleuthing the property. There's a feature that encourages you to take a picture of the exit floor map on the back of your door. Thank you very much.
Boom! 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 Wow. Immediate reaction from the panel.
Why is it called Room 77?
Okay.
There's actually, so I literally had this idea about 10 years ago. My background, I've been in online travel for over 10 years, both as an investor and as a CEO of an online travel company. And the idea was I would go to these hotels and I would just keep notes in my BlackBerry about good rooms and bad rooms. And then friends started hearing about this room list that I had and said, hey, would you send me the room list? I'm going to Miami and I want to know the list of good rooms. And so the experience was I was at a resort in the Caribbean, and there was, I was kind of checking out the good rooms and bad rooms. We had been given an average room, but there was clearly a room that was better, and it happened to be numbered room 77. And it was just a classic moment. We were there for a week. Had I had the information, had I had the power to call ahead of time and negotiate on my own behalf, we think we would have ended up in that room.
So do hotels like this or not like this?
So I would say this. 18 months ago, so we have a group of angel investors who include the guys who founded Expedia. And Rich Barton said to me early on, none of the hotels are going to give you the content. We weren't able to show in the content management system, but literally we just put a stake in the ground and we sent
By the way, that's what Rich said about the hotel rooms originally.
Exactly. So we put a stake in the ground, we went to the hotels, and we just started taking pictures of exit room maps and building this. And we waited until we had a critical mass, and then we went back to the hotel companies. We said, here's what we're launching. So we hope to announce, or actually we did announce today, a partnership with one of the largest hotel companies in the world, where they're now claiming and verifying all their content. So much like you see on the places pages on Google, where the hotels are claiming their content, and they're using it as a merchandising platform. They understand that transparency is going to happen, so they better embrace it. But clearly there are lots of hotels who say we'd rather this not happen. The good news is the business model does not depend on the hotels giving us the content.
Gotcha.
So it's a fee for leads, is that correct? Is that your?
Yeah, so the business model really threefold. You know, for people not particularly familiar with kind of online travel vertical, it's about a $40 billion vertical. TripAdvisor is about a $4 billion business. Three principal ways we think this will be monetized. Number one, providing high quality leads to everybody in the ecosystem, from the hotels to the OTAs, et cetera. Number two, we talked about driving ancillary revenues. So the pick a seat model represents about 6% of the revenue now to the airlines. So the ability of people to both upsell themselves, both across categories because they now have more information, and to pay $10 or $15 extra to guarantee that important room in Hawaii, we think is a no-brainer. The hotels are willing to share that revenue. And the third piece is every hotel company we've shared this with, the first question out of their mouths is, can you open up the API? Can we buy this data? Can we license this data? We need this data on our own website because it empowers us to get people into the room we want. You're shaping the demand on the front end. I was an investor in ITA software. That was one of the really smart moves that ITA did early on. By opening it up to the airlines actually gave them content that nobody else had. So we think by opening it up, we may actually get content.
Can I just ask
So,
one more?
yeah, I have one question as well.
Yeah. I was just saying, so they could make a business of the crappy rooms too? I mean, that they could say,
well,
you'll get a discount or something?
I think one of the important things is that this is not an editorial engine. It's a preference-based engine. You set your preferences. So some people want to be on a low floor next to the elevator. It's not my preference, so that's going to show up red according to my preferences. But my mother, who wants to be able to get out of the hotel quickly, that would be her preference. So the hotels get over that because they realize it's all according to our preferences. We're not making an editorial judgment.
So one question I had, I'm going to South by Southwest in a week.
Yeah.
And I don't care about the view.
Right.
I just want to go in. I know I'm going to stay at the W. It's going to be a decent room.
Right.
Why would I use your service?
Yeah, first I would say that not every use case will be applicable. There are times where I'm going to be in a hotel for 5 hours. I don't think I would use the service. But if I'm going to South by Southwest, I'm going to be in the room for an extended period of time. The certainty of knowing, A, that I'll be able to get in and out of the room pretty quickly because it's on a lower floor, close to the elevator. I may not care about the view, but when I'm at conferences like this, I don't want to be a mile away from the elevator. And all else being equal, totally agree, you may not particularly care about the view, but all else being equal, if we reduce the friction enough, why wouldn't you prefer a good room over a bad room?
Can you show me where the Wi-Fi works? Because that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, when you start thinking about the platform, I mean, one of the most powerful things, and our alpha users are already doing this, they can submit that content. And now we can append it to the specific room. So if somebody says the Wi-Fi sucks in room 2922, but it's number 800 review on TripAdvisor, it's never actionable. But if you could see that in context while you're checking in, and they offer you 2922 and it has horrible Wi-Fi, you say, no, that room's not going to work.
Let's take a question from the grand jury.
Hi, I stay in hotels.
Can we put up the wireless mic?
Hello? There you go. I stay in hotels about 200 nights a year. So I know this problem. And quite honestly, if you stay in a Hilton or a Hyatt, the rooms are always pretty good no matter where. But here's the problem. I would suggest you go after cruise ships. Because in cruise ships, you're not spending a couple $100s a night. You're spending $7,000, $10,000, $15,000. And the difference in rooms on cruise ships is dramatic. On the same floor, 2 rooms over, the boat is hanging down in front of you, you know, the emergency boat. 2 rooms over, you have a beautiful view. So I'd recommend you do it for cruise ships.
Mo, what did you think?
The one thing I would just say is, I think people today underappreciate the dramatic differences between rooms, even at Hyatts. I stay at the Hyatt in Seattle every 3 months, and the room next to the elevator that's an executive suite with a lousy view isn't as good as the room facing Puget Sound that's a long way away from the elevator. No, yeah.
Hey, Brad,
okay, let's take another
just a couple questions.
Yeah.
On the supply side, can you take us through how you're getting the supply, what the process is, how scalable it is, and whether you think you need ubiquity on that side to really meet the consumer needs? Right. And then on the demand side, how are you interacting with the other parts of the hotel choice equation? So, you know, what room I want to stay in, it's where do I want to stay, where do I want to go, et cetera. Are you trying to replace the TripAdvisors of the world? Are you augmenting them? Can you talk about just the supply and demand here?
Great questions to go quickly. In terms of the total addressable market. We're only focused on 3-star and above on a global basis. We think that's 25 to 30,000 hotels and 5 million rooms. We have 2,500 hotels and approaching 500,000 rooms today. That's all been sourced by ourselves. Now hotels are literally sending us files of thousands of hotels at a time because we've seeded the database, if you will. And the third leg of the stool is going to be consumers sleuthing hotels that we're not going to get to. Second question, just in terms about how we're interacting with the TripAdvisors, how we think we
how
fit in
traffic, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in talks with all the major search players, all the OTAs, TripAdvisors, et cetera, about distribution. They all see this as completely unique. Expedia, TripAdvisor, they have no idea how many hotels are in the Waikiki. They have no idea which ones face the water and which ones face the city. Their databases stop at the hotel level. And so for them, this is really important and powerful information. For us, we think that, over the course of the next few months, you'll see us roll out innovations like destination-based search, price-based search. Imagine seeing the price of every room superimposed on the hotel. So now in context, you can understand, is that room worth $20 more or $30 more?
Let's get another question or two in. Thank you for the concise answers.
So I kind of worry that this has like an antiviral element, like Seat Guru. I don't even want to say the name out loud, especially not at a conference, because if you ever try to book a flight now, it corresponds 1-to-1 with Seat Guru's good seats and bad seats. Right. So do you see that working against you in any way, that people are actually not going to want to share this because that's going to make it worse for them in the long run?
Right. I understand where it's coming from. What's been surprising to me is as we've scoured the web, we understand this activity is already occurring. People are already sharing this information on TripAdvisor and Twitter and Flickr, and they're uploading. The first thing they do is walk into a hotel room, take a picture, and upload it. It's uncanny. Sure. And so I think that that was a concern I had early on. I shared that view with respect to Seat Guru, but that's not the facts that we're seeing as we've crawled the information on the web.
Okay, let's hear it for room 77.